Happy Tuesday, everyone, and welcome back to the magical Krown's Crypto Cave.
Oh my god, thank you for that beautiful introduction, Elsa, and welcome back to Krown's Crypto Cave. It's a nice little Tuesday afternoon over here from a prior rainy and very lightning and thunder-induced Chicago. Actually, right now it's quite clear outside, so it's actually kind of nice to end the night. But we got plenty to talk about with good old Bitcoin right now, just because the 2-day and 3-day, and of course the daily as well, are going to be ending in the next hour and about 30 minutes. So we'll get into that in just a second here. So without wasting no more time, as always, wishing the best, the haps, the happiest. And let's get into the live stream right now. But before that, actually just realizing that I'm on the wrong page over there. There we go. And before that, let's get into it, baby. I'll teleport into the live stream right there. And there she is. Bitcoin, no. I forgot to talk about it. All of my programs are on sale for the rest of the week for my birthday week with 20% off with the code flashing right there, old20. I want to quickly just explain them so that there's no sort of like questions or or anything like that. Of course, if you do have questions, feel free to reach out to me on Discord. By the way, my Discord inbox has been absolutely just assaulted these last few days. So I apologize if I've taken any sort of long time to answer to you. I will get to you. It's just just trying to go one by one, just do my best here. Anyways, I have 3 programs. The first one's the technical analysis program. That is the program that's probably most applicable to most people, if you are even the kind of person in the first place that these are applicable for. I want to say, firstly and foremost, before you ever consider investing in any one of these programs, definitely take advantage of the free content. I have the Technical Analysis 101 playlist on YouTube, which is 100% free. And for most people, that's probably, going to get you to where you want to be. For the people who want to take the next step, then perhaps consider investing in one of these programs. Of course, read the reviews. That's going to be the best way to kind of figure out if it's for you. And I'll let you make the final decision. But first and foremost, the Technical Analysis program is the all-encompassing program that focuses not just on technical analysis, but also risk management, position management, market dynamics, and of course, access into the members' Discord community, and then of course, access to proprietary indicators. That's a program that's most all-encompassing, I suppose you could say, and probably the one that's most readily picked up. Then we have the options program. That is another 35-hour plus long program. I did forget to mention that about the Technical Analysis program. 35 hours long as well. So both these, are going to be my main concern with anyone considering one of these things is that you have to have enough time to really make the most out of it. The time that you put in is going to be equal to to what you get out of it, of course. And these being 35-hour plus long programs, I mean, it might even be a little bit more for the Technical Analysis program now because I've added so much. I do want to mention that, make sure that you have that sort of dedicated time for it, as otherwise, it's kind of probably just a waste, really. So with regards to that, the first one, Technical Analysis Options program, just directly focused on options trading. And then the Joule indicators, a little bit, that's completely different than the other two. It's more instant gratification, just access to my 5 proprietary indicators with videos on how to use them. It's certainly not a 35-hour plus long program, just a very quick, quick and easy and lovely program, which is fun. It's great, but I would say, hey, if you aren't already profitable with your regular trading, the Joule is not going to make up for that. It is a very, very powerful tool. It can make up for a lot, but risk management at the end of the day is the name of the game. If you don't have that, then I would not suggest getting into it. Anyways, without further ado, let's get into the price action right here as I adjust that and make this move over there. There we go. Okay, let me get rid of this. Okay, and Bitcoin finally on the daily, which the daily is actually not the thing that I'm concerned with most right here. The daily looks fine to me. All momentum oscillators are kind of pointed up right now. We see daily Stokes very, 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 very painfully wrecked, coming in from the same area that we see actually producing a lot of these major, massive rallies from this last few months of price action. The last cross that we had from this region was 29th of July right here, which led Bitcoin all the way from this 9,500 base all the way to a little bit north of 12,000. So pretty damn good price action based upon that one. And the time before that was actually this cross right here at around the $8,000 mark, which led us up all the way from this base into the $14,000 run essentially. And then the time before that was really coming out of this $5,000 base right here, leading up to this $9,000 run right there. So each and every time it has been, pretty, met with pretty good results, I suppose you could say. Now, that in and of itself doesn't mean all that much to me. But when we start to pair this up with our volatility metrics, that to me starts to really ring some bells as we see historical volatility percentile, which has been downtrending for the past, couple months, ever since like June, July. Now actually starting to get back above this moving average on it, which we haven't done in quite some time. Now, this in and of itself is not enough. I actually need to see this sustain or just spike up, up here in this region right here. But if we're going to start to expand from a volatility perspective with momentum oscillators pointing to the upside right here, And we're going to get into the higher time frames, which kind of rounds this discussion out a little bit more. But even just looking at this, that would suggest that we do have, some upside here, regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish within the overall formation, which, of course, at the end of the day, the overall formation is still very much unchanged. We're still looking at one massive descending triangle. We're looking at a descending triangle, however, in a macro upward cycle, as we have been pretty much straight to the upside for the last, 6-7 months right here. Bitcoin operating within the confines of a descending triangle, which is typically a bearishly resolved pattern. I would say that the statistics of that playing out to the downside do get greatly diminished in a counter macro cycle. So this would be a good example of that. However, it goes without saying, hey, if Bitcoin does break the bottom support of this descending triangle, which would be around 9,400, this is the same area that we kind of got stuck in the mud at, which is also the 382 Fibonacci retracement from the ultimate high to the ultimate low of the past market cycle, then, well, technically speaking, we do have a measure move pointed all the way down toward the 66 to 6,700 marker right here. There likely would be bounces along the way, probably 9,000. Then the 200 exponential moving average somewhere right around 8,500. Gap boys get their fills there too. And then we could talk about 7,500, testing the 200 simple and 377 exponential moving average. And then the full-on measure moved all the way down to this, 66, 6,700-ish area right here. But right now, for me, regardless of whether you're looking at this ascending triangle that has to break onto the downside if you're super bearish, I would say that, even if you're bearish, even if you're bullish, we probably do see some more upside here regardless of the fact, just by looking at momentum oscillators and just by, the fact that things typically don't move in a straight line, this one being no different, as Bitcoin, tightening up and winding up this whole formation right here tells me that we still have a little bit more to go, and during that time, well, just going to fill out the space most likely. Of course, I forgot to talk about this, but the 12-hour, and then I'll just get and then I'll get in my positions in just a second. But 12-hour is quite interesting to me as well, but most of it's kind of already played out. We saw 12-hour Stokes turn the first. These have actually been the best in this overall consolidation. All the crosses to the upside and the downsides have gotten the tops and bottoms of this formation perfectly. So these are multi-$1,000 moves typically, and of course, it kind of like called the pick me up out of this 9,500-ish territory right here. This is why, when we were looking at this, we were saying that as soon as we kind of got above this, this 9,600 pivot, we were likely to move on to 98.50. We took out 98.50, then we moved on to the next major area at about 10.2, small stutter step right there, take it out, then move on to 10.5. That target gets hit, we actually overtake it. We move on to the next target, 10.8, which has been hit as of this morning, and now I'm kind of looking for a little bit of a pullback based upon this. So going into lower time frames here, going over to BitMexico, this is kind of the way that is, that I've been represented in chart formation. Basically all these levels getting taken out, and then the next relevant level comes available, I suppose you could say. So this is why I don't really talk about time analysis, even though sometimes I will throw out some time frames out there. It's not something that I believe too much in, but as far as zones go, as each and every zone gets taken out, then the next most relevant one is the next batter up, essentially. So you've kind of seen them all go on through here, and that's how I've been getting these targets, and just moving from one to the next, essentially. Timing of this happened a lot faster than I would have really, prepared for, but at the end of the day, that's why I don't really care about time analysis. More importantly, in the lower time frames, as you can see, the blue box territory to our upside was our fourth target in this slew at 10H to about 11,000, or just south of 11,000. And to me, we probably do play a little bit of ping pong between these two areas right here, being the white 200 simple and also this blue box territory to the downside at 10,550, and then the area that we just spoke about. And until we actually break above this area right here, or I mean, we could break below this area as well. But I'm going to show some things that I think that suggest that we're likely to test some upside first and foremost. If we do break this area, then my next target would be right along the ultimate resistance of this formation, coming in all the way back from our June highs, connecting all the dots there, which would be coming in around like 11.3. So anywhere in this zone between like 11.3 and 11.5 region, which everyone's going to be looking at. Everyone's looking at this as a descending triangle, so we all have kind of like the same resistances and supports along this pitch. And I'd imagine that there's going to be a lot of activity based upon this region right here. Probably some front running going on, probably some fuckery most likely. Anyways, I forgot to show my position, so my bad about that, but I am long. I'm long. I longed the 95.50-ish base right there, as we spoke about a few days ago, and then I longed again on the breakout of 10.2. You'll notice this is on December futures. They have a $200 premium right now. So when Bitcoin took out this 10.2 resistance right here, what was it? Sorry, is this guy right here? That was the second when I added on that position, because then my next target was about 10.5-ish region. So just holding on to that right now as Bitcoin moves its way upwards and onwards. Don't really have anything else to do other than that. I'm pretty much covered on them to begin with. Actually, I've sold some in the money calls against them just because I don't really want to be focused too much on it right now. As realistically, the range is still pretty much stale. It's kind of like a stalemate for the bigger time frames. Anyways, the purpose of this video video, or I suppose the kind of like main thing of this video, is I really want to focus on the 2-day and the 3-day right now, of which both these are going to be ending tonight at 8 p.m. Eastern Time, which is about 1 hour and 24 minutes from this time. And you do see that the 2-day is above, or going to have a chance to close above all major moving averages, assuming that we do close above 10,300. As I reach for my water, I just need a sip of this right now, as my throat's actually kind of scratching a little bit. Oh, so much better. All right, there we go. Just looking at my CPU right there, rocking at 22%, not bad. Anyways, so yes, if we do close above the yellow 21 exponential moving average, which is our kind of highest moving average right there, then I would be looking for likely a slight pullback on the next 2-day dildo, but actually would be looking for continuation overall to that next target region of, 10.8, 11,000 once again. If we actually do break that, then 11.3-ish, we'll call it, is going to be the next target. The thing with this is that if we do close anywhere here or higher by the 2-day close, which again is in 1 hour and about 23 minutes now, we will see the 2-day Stokes likely cross the upside, most importantly, which have been pretty damn good at getting these pretty massive moves. The last major cross that we saw to the upside was actually over here on the beginning of August, so getting this base at 9,500 before this move all the way to 12,000. And the time before that, coming from the same position, was actually all the way down here at 3,400 before. I mean, depends how you really, depends how you kind of really, call it right here. But I would say just general upside, I suppose. Not only that, but we do see 2-day RSI actually poking its head back above the exponential. It's regained it and back above the neutral zone, which is also going to be considered a rejection of the bearish control zone. So to me, this is likely to march its way upwards and onwards. But realistically, it's actually the 3-day RSI that I have the most eyes on right now, as 3-day RSI is not only doing kind of the same thing, regaining the exponential right here, but also breaking this. Hey, you motherfucker, get on over here. Breaking this falling pizza to the upside, which will confirm again in 1 hour and 22 minutes. So to me, that'll be a pretty big deal, as I put a lot more weight on formations in RSI rather than actual price action, funnily enough. And I would be looking for this to likely work its way back up around the bullish control zone, which is likely going to correlate with with price action, probably testing around that 11.3 region, to be fair. Not only that, but 3-day RSI looking like wants to cross back up to the upside. And we do see the 3-day jewel kind of on a preliminary support as well. Not as scientific as the other ones, but this is designed to act as a bouncy bounce region no matter what. Especially on a higher time frame like that. So, all things pointed towards we likely do actually see continuation off this. Not only that, but of course the 3-day is going to have a chance to close above all major moving averages right here. And I would look for that red 10 simple, which is coming in right around that 10,550-ish region, to act as our major support. So here's a way that I can kind of match it up. Keep in mind the red 10 simple on the 3-day is coming in right there, 10,550. If we go back to the 4-hour, that's exactly where this white 200 simple moving average, right? Oh my God, I'm just reading. I get alerts when there's comments on my YouTube videos, and this one's great. It's like, Batcoin is the only alt with an actual product and use case. Well, sorry about that. Ate some sausages today. That's embarrassing. It's like, actually, that's kind of true. But man, when these people, just fucking harass the videos, it's like, all right, what kind of legitimate project does something like that is the real question. Anyways, the white 200 moving average kind of being like a base of operations now in the way they look at it on the 4-hour dodo time frame, matching up with a lot of macro areas as well. So I would look at this as a pivot going forwards, and I would say that I have a general bullish bias in the medium to slightly higher time frames, I suppose, as long as we remain above it. And that's, again, coming in at about 10,550 and marching its way up a little bit, probably going to be around 10,600 by tomorrow, the next day. Not only that, but if we take off all these babies here and just put on the 50 and the 200, let's actually keep on the 200 simple as well, represented by the green 50 exponential moving average and the purple 200 exponential moving average right here. You can see that they're rapidly converging on each other, which, if they do cross, that would be the good old golden cross on the 4-hour, which is kind of like the lowest time frame that holds the most weight, I suppose you could say, with actually forcing, some pretty massive swaths of Bitcoin price action. So as we do see these two guys converge on each other, I would say that as long as Bitcoin remains above the 200 simple and creates a base here, we will actually see the golden cross happen, and it probably happens in the next couple days, give or take, depending on upon how aggressive Bitcoin gets in this consolidation right here. But for me, I would say that as long as we remain above it, it's kind of inevitable in the next 2 to 3 days, I'd imagine. Most importantly, historically speaking, if we go on over here and kind of do a little bit of dissection on the last golden crosses in an overall bullish market, which I used to do a lot, I used to show this a lot, which is kind of like a little bit of a sore point because it actually didn't end up playing out, unfortunately. But as we do kind of see the relevancy, I just want to show the relevancy of a golden cross in a general upwards market, of which we're looking at one right now. We have to go all the way back to 2015, 2016 region. This was kind of the switch up from the last bear market to bull market right here. And you can see a pretty obvious signature on the death cross and golden cross moving averages. Again, the green and the purple, the 50 and the 200. And we do see this first, death cross right here, kind of capping off this first major run to the upside. And we get death cross for about 2 weeks, right? And then we get the golden cross, and the golden cross, starts off a little bit slow. We actually have a little bit of a one-off right here with a smidgen of a death cross, but mostly sideways. And then Bitcoin essentially doubles in price action from this golden cross to the next major high about 123 days later, as you can see. After that, we get death cross once again. Play out a little bit of downside for about 2 weeks, it looks like here, and then we get golden crossed. And what happens after that? Well, what happens after that will amaze you. No, well, maybe it might. We get another doubling in price action done in the next 121 days. So what is that, about 4 months, right? Then we get the next death cross right here, golden cross about a week after that, it looks like, or actually just a few days after that. And from the next golden cross, just blindly trading the golden cross to the next next high, we do see about a 53% gain as well. Same thing happens right here. Death cross, golden cross takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks, and then boom, massive price action once again, almost 180% to the upside done over the course of the next 69 days. Great number as well, by the way. Then death cross, golden cross takes about a week and a half, 2 weeks here, and we get the next major move. As you can see, looks like another doubling of price action, 107% right here, and then we get the next death cross, golden cross takes about 2 weeks, and then the next one's just absolutely massive, leading us up like 400%. Yeah, almost 40% there, done over the course of 82 days. Anyways, my point is that as Bitcoin does kind of resolve itself out here, we actually have had a few fake outs. So you probably remember me talking about this right on over here, which made me pretty excited because Bitcoin, got the death cross about a couple weeks before. Sounds familiar, right? We see the same sort of signature, in past prior trends, and then we got the golden cross. But price action actually ended up just being still one major consolidation here. We've neither broke to the upside nor broke to the downside. So I would say that is kind of a non-event, as you can see. And yes, we did have one example in the past where we did get two concurrent, phases of that without like any real price action movement. It was, more or less within a range of about 10%. For Bitcoin, that's, not that much. Anyways, if we do get a golden cross once again, I would say that would actually probably make me bullish enough to look for this formation to break to the upside if we actually get it. But for right now, still a little bit well and far away, and, needs to actually happen first and foremost before it actually does become a real thing. But, just kind of measure it out right here. I'm just curious, how long has this one gone so far? I'd imagine it probably takes a little bit longer. This one would take about 3 weeks, from death cross to golden cross if we did to get it. So it is a little bit outside of the bounds of what we've seen in the past, but I do think that is still relevant just from like a general trend perspective. So we spoke about all of that. Let's get back on all these babies right here. There we go. And what else do I want to talk about? Spoke about it being in a descending triangle still. Spoke about it. Yeah, I want to be very, 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 very clear with this. Bitcoin still being in a descending triangle does mean that there's still, a major bearish case to be made, even with this amazing price action that we've seen thus far. It's far from over until we actually have a resolution one way or the other. And as long as we're within this descending triangle, it is going to, it's technically a bearish formation. It's more likely to break out to the downside, even though we are in a counter macro uptrend. So that's. It always makes things a little bit more difficult. I'm a lot more intent to play bearish formations and bearish markets, like the descending triangle that we had during 2018. Amazing, fucking amazing. And bullish things in bullish markets. So to me, it's more a little bit of a waiting game until we actually break above this area right here, about 11, let's call it 11.5. And even then, I think 11.5 is even too premature. I'd like to see another high above this guy right here. That's where I start to get a lot more confident in that. And that would be about 12.1, 12.2. I think I'd feel more comfortable with saying that. But this resistance will actually match up, as you can see, with the 0.5 Fibonacci retracement. So there is structural things there from a historical standpoint as well. But more importantly, until we actually break above this level, no real resolution is to be talked about to the upside, just like anywhere, as long as we're above 94 or 9,500, can't really talk about resolution to the downside. We can only talk about potential targets, which we already spoke about to the downside. If we do see the upside initiated, it technically would suggest a target at around like 14,500, but realistically, I think that Bitcoin at that point would just start to float its way upwards and onwards. 15,000 would be the next, the next sort of major area they'd be looking towards. And really, major area is kind of like the wrong terminology to be using. If we go back all the way on over here, you can see that Bitcoin never really even spent that much time even above like 14 or 15,000 in the past, just a few weeks, realistically. So there's not all that much, structural resistance built up. So, you can see a few areas here of interest, maybe at like 15,000. This guy right here at about 16.5 to 17,000. And then, about 14,500 we just spoke about. But other than that, I'd really be just looking for Bitcoin to kind of start flying once again if we did get resolution to the upside. I wouldn't necessarily just say, oh, target met at 14,500 and out. I'd probably just generally be bullish after that. You really have to start thinking about the higher time frames, of which, let's talk about the weekly for a second here. The weekly is very interesting to me as well, as we actually took out the prior week's high on pretty much every exchange except for BitMexico. BitMexico, the odd man out, but all the exchanges, whether they're Finex, Stamp, or GDAX, have all taken out the prior week's high, which makes this look like a local low, kind of like a spitting bottom right here. And to me, you could make the argument that this is a test down to the yellow 20 exponential moving average, which everyone's been looking for, right? And when everyone's looking for something, what typically happens? We either get front ran or we get overshot. In this case, I think it's very possible that we got front ran. When you look at it on a weekly as well, while it's not necessarily in there right now, you could see that there perhaps is, or potentially is, an ascending triangle forming right now. But we don't have that third touch to the upside, which technically makes it kind of null and void. We do have two touches to the downside, so that would work, but we don't have that third touch to the upside. So if we do work our way back to that 11.5 region, this actually starts to look okay from a weekly standpoint. And if we close this next weekly anywhere above the 10 simple, I would be bullish off that to 11,500. And I'm happy to say that right now. We also do see weekly Stokes getting down to the same area that we kind of rallied off of during the last bull market cycle in 2016 to 2018. As you can see right here, we get in this region right around the 60 to 56 marker-ish market territory, and then just tighten up and get picked up there each and every time, kind of marching up. And you do see that it's weakening to the downside right here, but we don't have any sort of cross up or anything like that, so it's still well and far away. I also do want to say that, if we do confirm this next weekly dodo above the 10 simple, then this is going to be considered, this is going to be considered hidden bullish divergence between this point and this point. Correlating with this point and this point on price action, RSI is making a lower low, price action making about this, technically a slightly higher low right here, which would suggest that bears are using more power and they're getting less of the way, which would inherently be bullish, at least for getting us back to the top of the range. So again, looking at that, just understand how the whole picture changes as we initiate each and every one of these targets, or sorry, each and every one of these areas. Anyways, okay, so we spoke about all of that. Let's go check out the expected moves chart. I will make this video a little bit on the shorter side. I think that it's only like, how long have we been? Oh my God, it's already been 22 minutes. Are you fucking kidding me? God damn, I don't know how people make like 10-minute or 20-minute videos. That's insane. That's fucking insane. Anyways, the expected moves chart actually getting things pretty damn right, and says that we're probably not moving higher today on like today's daily dildo. We did use the bottom side of the first standard deviation to rally off of, and we kind of topped off at the at the edge of the first standard deviation. So to me, this is still consolidating, but we're in a we're obviously being squeezed to the upside, and you do see that the slope is actually remaining to the upside as well. So generally speaking, still healthy-ish, and I would be looking for this to essentially try higher. Until we see this level out like we saw down here, or even get a negative slope, which is probably going to take a little bit more of a time. I wouldn't really be looking for that to play out, but hey, as long as it's kind of squeezing to the upside here, more or less good. Looking at the fear and greed index, we are taking out a 41 right now. You will notice that that's, certainly on the low. I mean, we're still kind of in the fearful zone, to be fair. But this is during an overall macro uptrend. And remember, we got down to the lowest market that this has ever had in the past, like literally in the past, which has only been about a year. So it's really not all that good, actually. But that was during a bear market where you'd expect to be more fearful just by the nature of being a bear market. And this being, the last 6-7 months just straight to the upside, you'd imagine that any sort of fearful reads would likely have a more sensitive impact in this region and likely bounce price up, if we are going to remain still macro bullish. That's how you expect it to act. Just like during the spikes to the upside right here during the bear market. I mean, this was right before the dooms dropped from 6,000 to 3,000, quickly got faded. You'd kind of apply the same logic to the more fearful reads down here. So again, if this is going to remain macro bullish, that's how we would expect it to behave. We'd want to see fall through here essentially. It would suggest that the low is the low for this formation is in. So yeah. Anyways, we spoke about the 2 days, spoke about the 3 days, spoke about all of that. Okay, cool. Let's go look at the Bitcoin dominance chart. Bitcoin dominance over here. And we've been bullish on this for a while, and I'd probably still be bullish on it. I'm still fucking bullish on it. We got our first open and close above the weekly white 200 simple moving average, and we've gotten fall through ever since. I do believe that yesterday we printed a, we had some sort of an ascending triangle. Yeah, we had an ascending triangle right here that broke to the upside. That does have a measure move pointed all the way up towards 74.5%. So I would actually be looking for alts to take a little bit more of a beating versus Satoshis. That does not mean they take a beating versus US dollar. In fact, probably most alts versus US dollar rally, at least from what I've kind of looked at. I think Litecoin was poking her head up, so not bad. And in longer term, I really don't see too much stopping this. Again, longer term, not like today or tomorrow, but longer term, really from this like 75% region right here. So I do still think that regardless of whether Bitcoin's bullish or bearish, this would suggest that alts get hurt all the same. I mean, this is really the next big area that I see around 75%. Technically, though, that range could be extended all the way to 77.5 to 78%. So it could get it could still get a little bit more nasty for the altcoins. Just looking at the higher time frames, I'd be bullish on them. The lower time frames, though, they are certainly very extended. To be fair, that's what makes this more difficult. But a nice little base being built right here, and then rally off it. So for now, probably still looking for some upside. I'd imagine that my shitcoin chart, my beautiful, highly altruistic altcoins are probably looking amazing right now. What? Cardano? What the fuck? Motherfucking shitcoin, please. Back in the house, baby. And, I mean, this is basically like an inverted chart of the Bitcoin dominance. So, yeah, we're seeing what we expect to see. And this goes for most altcoins. The reason why I use Cardano is because, well, it basically looks like the general altcoin. It's not like extremely shitty. It's certainly not good, but it's like right smack dab in the middle there. It's a good representation of just the overall altcoin market. Anyways, so yeah, checked out that. Okay, just running through all my notes right here. Let's go check out GBTC. How did GBTC operate on the day? GBTC actually did something different than spot. GBTC rejected by the 21 exponential moving average. In fact, GBTC, to me, I don't like this actually. You see that GBTC is still being held down by this, this resistance trend line right here, still closing below it. I'm actually, if I was just trading GBTC, I would not be a fan of this, but of course I'm not just trading GBTC. The thing is that as an ETF looms closer and closer, and of which we found out this morning that an ETF is going to go like half-mast essentially. They don't have approval from the SEC, but they're going to go ahead anyways, just like with, I suppose, like half their service, just like not full service. That does certainly diminish the use case for something like GBTC. I just don't really see why people would, want to go through the same regulatory hoops as GBTC as you can when you can just get into a more legitimate ETF. So yeah, perhaps we do see bifurcation between GBTC and spot prices now, as that close was not good. Really not a fan of that one, but I highly doubt that it bifurcates that much from spot right now. Probably still catches wind of the of this last little strength. But we'll just have to kind of tune back into that one tomorrow. I don't have a strong opinion on it other than that. Let's go check out CMEs as well. How are CMEs doing? 10-8. They've already closed for the day. CMEs getting a phenomenal close right here. CMEs do look to me like they want to continue upwards and onwards. Yes, we are right at resistance, but this is a pretty good setup. We're above all major moving averages here. We do see daily Stokes actually extremely painfully wrecked right now. And daily historical volatility percentile is getting, well, no, it's not really doing anything. It's still downtrending, no doubt about that. But we're looking to expand this. That's the next big signal. And after a close, I mean, that's a fucking girthy green dildo. That is girth as fuck. And likely to get fall through. Yes, we're right at resistance right here. Do we have a short-term pullback on lower time frames? Most likely. I think we're kind of seeing that right now. But momentum also to still point north. And I do believe we see this on most time frames still. 4 hours kind of consolidating at this higher level right now. We do see 4 hour oscillator is actually really up there. Even 4 hour RSI getting up there as well. Although not creating divergences just yet, but in the process of doing such, which is a little bit scary. We also even see historical volatility percentile on the 4 hour still downtrending. I mean, this is we're yet to see any sort of like real move, so to speak. But yeah, overall, CME's, I think, just a more clean chart here. I think that CME chart just makes a lot more sense in general. Pretty damn simple, stock standard. There's really just a few lines, those magical technical analysis lines to be aware of. This 9,400 level right here, about 10,000, which would really be about 9,850 on spot right here. Then we got the 10.5 region right here, the region that we're currently at, about 10.8, and then above there, 11.3, 11.5. So yeah, CME is just clean, just super clean. Anyways, okay, cool. So we've spoken about all of that. Let's go check out the top 2 shitcoins right now. Mrs. Litecoin first and foremost, because well, we appreciate ladies at Krown Crypto Cave, of which we actually have a few females in the in the community, and fucking goddamn, man, these must be some cool girls. Jesus Christ, man, like, I mean, that's awesome for real. Anyways, looking at this right here, Mrs. Litecoin having some power, and I do think that Mrs. Litecoin probably does break through here. I need to see Mrs. Litecoin break through this like $74 resistance right here, and then I'd be looking for this move to transpire all the way up to like 80, around $80, and then it starts to look better and better. We're starting to see a lot of the altcoins shape up similarly to each other, and we're gonna see a few other things from Mr. Buteral that suggests that they're looking like they're setting up right now. Perhaps not there just yet, but setting up perhaps. We'll talk about what to look for in just a second. But based off this right here on Mrs. Litecoin, looking strong, looks to me like it does want to take a leap towards $73. Probably going to test this resistance right here. If we can actually break it, close the daily doodle above it, I'll be looking for this next $80 region to be hit, and it starts to, look better. Most importantly for Mrs. Litecoin, we are seeing a pretty damn good bounce off the 200 exponential moving average right here. That's one of the other reasons why I wasn't getting bearish at that last test down to 9,500, because until we actually fully informally break this and we see kind of all the market come down to like a major area like this, you're more than likely to bounce off that region. Regardless of whether you're bullish or bearish. It's just, usually going to get respected. Problem is, we do see the red 10 simple crossing the downside of the yellow 21 right there. Not good. Doesn't mean that we can't rally into it a little bit. I mean, shit, we can rally back all the way back up to 80, $80 and still be below all these right here. I mean, it's an uphill battle right now, but I'd imagine that Mrs. Litecoin looks like she wants to have a little bit of a run. Looking at Mr. Buteral, we do see something similar here. We do see Mr. Buteral in kind of a massive falling pizza between these two major trend lines right here. And actually, are we actually breaking out the top side of it right now? Could this be going on at this very moment? Let's go over here to the daily. No, it is not, but it's right there. If we can close a daily doodle above 184, and I want to be more conservative with this just because I don't think right now it's time to be aggressive. But if we close the daily doodle above 184, or especially the daily 20 exponential moving average, I'd be looking for this to come at the very least all the way back up a little bit north of $200. Yes, we do have the death cross. Yes, I mean it's a downtrend. Yes, the higher time frames don't look good, but do think that we probably have some upside here. Momentum oscillators on daily looking good. Daily historical volatility percentile looking like wants to turn up as we approach major resistance. As we see momentum oscillators turn back up, getting better. Same thing with daily RSI. There you go. If we just get out of the bearish control zone there, I'd be looking for this to actually get even higher than that. We do have a measure move pointed all the way towards 260, although I wouldn't necessarily call that as soon as we break through this area right here. If we do break this through that area right there, then I'd be looking for about 205 to get hit, then 235, and then 260, 270. I'm actually gonna get rid of this right there. It's a little bit too in the way. There we go. But yeah, for right now, acting okay. So fair enough. Okay, so we got Mr. Buteral, we got Mrs. Litecoin. Do you want to look at traditional markets really quick? Yeah, sure. Why not? Traditional markets closing the day kind of in pretty much indecision right there. Neither fan nor neither hate nor love what I see right here. Looks like to me like we'll probably open up tomorrow somewhere right around 292, and then do we see the downside resume? I'm not so I'm not so clear on this one just yet. Again, I do still stick to what I've said over the longer period of time that we do see SPY likely come down to this 275ish level right here. I do believe that likely operates as a bear trap though. Too many people on the same side of the trade right now. And like I keep saying, the Fed still has, a few more bullets to kind of dig into. Of course, we could go negative rates. I mean, Jesus Christ, Japan's already there. Germany's there as well. I think it's kind of just accepted that eventually we'll probably go there anyways. So yeah, they can still prop this up a little bit longer, perhaps even a couple years. But hey, I mean, if we did break this area to the downside, okay, then we'd have some, big to deal with. But for right now, I think that we probably come down here, in the medium term, so to speak, and then probably bounce from there. Lower time frames, like I said, I don't really have a strong opinion on the lower time frames. I think that we probably open up tomorrow and then probably get rejected, but again, if you do see this thing get back above like 294, I'll be looking for this to actually test all the way up here towards around $300 once again, and then probably resume the downside. Shit, that's, some big, now we're talking about some major further out ideas. Anyways, back on to Bitcoin. I did forget to talk about this, but I want to briefly mention it before I go. The monthly is interesting to me right now, just because we do see the red 10 symbol rapidly approach that yellow 21. We will see them cross officially to the upside next month, which is pretty far away right now. We're only in the we're in the third day of September right now. So to me, it's still got a long ways to go. But more importantly, if we do see Bitcoin essentially just hold in here, then we will actually see these guys cross the upside. And that has been, a pretty good indication of where we are on the general trajectory of Bitcoin longer term. Not necessarily on the crosses, but just their convergence and in divergence away from each other. You see back on over here when we're essentially, you've got them both stacked up, lower period above higher period, and they're diverged. We're in a general uptrend. When they start diverging, that's when, Bitcoin, plays out its more dramatic downsides. Then they cross back up to the upside right here, diverge away from each other, and we rally up for the next 2 to 3 years. And then same thing happens here as they converge on each other and Bitcoin falls apart. And, well, what have we seen right now? They're converging on each other and they have a chance to actually cross the upside. So I would say that this is, longer term, if Bitcoin can hold in here, starts to look better. That also would suggest that even if we just take out, what was this? July's wick low at 90, well, this is really like 90.50. Over here on Stamp, then I'd be looking for this price action to come much further down. That's when all those downside targets, become a reality. 8,500, 7,500, 6,700, we'll call it, would be the main areas that I look for. But also, we do still see bullish oscillators. We see monthly still very much erect, getting out of the bearish control zone, maintaining above the bearish control zone, and gaining more divergence away from each other. I mean, that looks good. Monthly RSI, very similar signature to what we saw right over here in June of 2016, where Bitcoin plays out this bear market cycle, rallies up with price action right here, and then we get that first test into the bearish control zone right here in June, gets knocked back. That's when we play out what is this? 40% drop down right there, which, we've kind of done something similar right here. We've done about let me actually get it right. All right, let's see. A little bit of a butterfingers right there. Okay. Yeah, about 35.5% right there. So pretty damn similar. So again, this thing comes back down, tests the exponential. Are we going to actually see it maintain in the bullish control zone? That would obviously make me a little bit more bullish, in the more immediate future, I suppose you could say. So yeah. Anyways, I suppose I'll wrap it up now and go back to the 4-hour dollar time frame on BitMexico. Basically, the biggest base right now, the most preliminary support for Bitcoin, 10,550, also synonymous with the 4-hour 200 simple moving average. If we do lose that, I would actually be looking for Bitcoin to come back down to the 10.1 region. And at that point, this is going to start to not look so good. Bitcoin's going to be under pressure once again, but I would be looking for likely a bounce around the $10,000 or $10,100 region. By the same token, as long as Bitcoin kind of maintains above here, we will get the golden cross on the 4-hour, and we are brushing up against this next resistance zone right here. But I would say that would likely give it the impetus, the power to break through it and test this 11.3 through 11.5 region right here, where, technically we have a chance to resolve the whole formation, although I wouldn't call resolution on this formation until we actually fully and formally close above this last high. It's still going to be a little bit left of sun until that happens. Anyways, that's essentially what I'm looking at right now. Do want to wish you all this nice little Tuesday early afternoon from Chicago, Illinois. Take care and see you soon.